I'm broke the boss, I flipped the script. Super Trucker Podcast got me fully equipped. Left the noise behind, now I'm stacking green. Voyager Nation made me live the dream.
Presenting live, well, not necessarily live, but pre-recorded, is John. What we're going to do here is provide market updates on a weekly basis. And so here we go. Let's get kick-started. So what's going on for this week?
What's going on, party people? So first thing I just want to address are just some major keys to success that, regardless of the market, will always allow you to be successful. So first things first, our weeks run from Monday to Monday. So if you want a successful week, you have to be ready to start off the week on a Monday. If you don't start on Monday, you're immediately just allowing your business to lose money.
You know, that's the biggest one, because a lot of guys are always like, well, what's the rates out of Florida? And then they get caught up on that and probably start on a Tuesday hoping that it was better than that Monday morning.
Yeah, nah. It doesn't matter if it's Monday, if it's Wednesday, if it's Thursday. The rates are not going to change. All you're doing is just delaying, ripping off that Band-Aid, getting out of here, and being ready to start your week off in a better location and just hitting it hard from there.
There we go.
Yep. The other thing that I would always say is trust your dispatcher. You have to be open to just chase the money regardless of the markets or the areas. I always hear drivers say, man, I don't want to go this way. I don't want to go over here. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. When you do that, all you're doing is limiting your ability to capitalize on your revenue and make your money.
Yeah, but I mean, what happens on the other side of the fence, right? Because like I think a lot of these guys are just kind of like they go to their comfort zones, right? And maybe they had a dispatcher who only kept them in that area and aren't really used to that versatility of going to where the money actually is.
So I think that the biggest thing with that is just understanding that the markets consistently change. So for example, just a few months ago, it's the wintertime. We saw that a lot of drivers don't like to drive in the snow or in the cold. And so they went to the south, but then what does that do? The south is now dropping in rates, while areas like Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana is now booming in rates. So it's either, are we going to go there and make the money, or are you going to be at where you're comfortable and limit your ability to make some money?
Yeah, so that just becomes a decision. But again, what causes that is not because John thought of it, is supply and demand. So all those trucks that have the same idea that just go to the south, you saturate the south, and your truck to load ratio is off, and now rates are going to naturally just drop.
Exactly. So the next part is obviously just making sure that you're trusting your dispatcher, because experienced dispatchers will always take risks. They're always looking at markets, they're looking at areas, they have to be creative, and in order to be creative, you have to allow them to do so. If you put them in a box, nobody's going to be creative in that box. So you have to put the trust and confidence in them, because we will never do anything without a plan. We're always looking at, what if I'm bringing you in here for this rate, how can I get you out of there? How can I capitalize in that? Because my goal is your goal, and that's to be able to make you as much money as possible.
Yeah, because I think a lot of guys, when you play it way too safe, you limit the money at the end of the day.
Absolutely. So with that, just want to transition into some of the things that we saw this week. And I just want to say that this week was pretty much booming all the way around. A couple different factors that kind of played into that. But I mean, regardless, it's just how can you capitalize and take advantage of it when it's available?
Yeah,
right?
You got to jump on it.
Absolutely. So loads, honestly, all across the country were up this week. We pretty much saw loads literally anywhere and everywhere. We saw, just to name a few, over $350 a mile from Virginia to Alabama. Went into Colorado out of Mississippi for over $250 a mile. Arkansas to Florida was over $250 a mile. Missouri to South Carolina was over $270. Mississippi to Jersey over $270, or $280 rather. And not to mention, which was the biggest surprise, loads coming out of Florida this week was over $2 a mile.
Yeah, here we go. But you know what, man? Like, the only problem with that is that next week someone's like, do it again.
That's true.
But when it's there, you got to take it, to your point. So
absolutely. Take advantage of that. So imagine, coming in from Arkansas to Florida, which is literally what one of our drivers did this week, at $280 a mile, and still leave Florida again at $2 a mile. You're not losing at all at that point.
Yeah, man. So maybe this blitz week is not as bad as people think, if your truck's in order, right?
Absolutely. So that's kind of the biggest part. So blitz week, we always talk about just the uptick, obviously, in inspections and all of these things going on across the country. But in reality, man, you should always be ready. And inspections random, as it is anyways. So with that, I just want to say for us, Blitz Week was a major success. We saw a slight uptick in inspections, of course, but nothing our guys couldn't handle. Nothing out of service, nothing that caused guys to waste time there besides just doing the inspection itself, and just keep rolling. Just like you said, you have to be prepared, making sure you're doing the right thing always, and that way you don't have to be concerned when you hear of a Blitz Week. So we treated this like any other week, and with that, the guys that were on the road were able to take advantage of these uptick in rates.
But that's what I'm saying, man. You got to be in the ring you got to get in the ring to win the fight. Otherwise, you ain't winning.
Absolutely. And not only did obviously Blitz Week influence these rates this week, but we also heard that Trump is delaying the tariffs for at least another 90 days.
Ding, ding, ding.
So, I mean, I don't want to sit here and say it's only because of Blitz Week. However, I'm not just me, but across the board, I think we're all optimistic that these upcoming weeks and into the summer, we should be able to see a booming in the freight. So,
yeah, and that's what's going to be, man. I think there's always going to be news. There's always going to be an event. There's always going to be, trucking is that, right? For many years. So at the end of the day, just like you said, you guys got to be ready, stay ready, and be on that road.
Absolutely. And similar to what you just said as well right now, there will always be an opportunity to make money in trucking. You just need to have the right plan and the right team in place to push you through the bad times and be able to capitalize in the good times.
Yeah, so here we go. Stay tuned for more updates just like this coming to you so that you stay informed. All right, my guy. Stay safe, be safe, drive safe. Operators looking for the best business owner opportunity, look no further. I got all the programs that are going to make you successful. Everything to operating from 2 different fuel cards, top of the line trailers with a maintenance program that is unbeatable, to plates, insurance, you name it, we got it. All you got to do is give us a call, 863-342-5171. Learn more and get started.